Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and wow, what a day. I'm telling you, XRP is screaming that it wants to go higher. I'm going to share with you perspective from, I think, 10 or 11 different XRP chart analysts, and there's no disagreement on that. And we'll see exactly what the timing looks like as we get more into it, but it's very clear that this has been an impulsive move for Bitcoin. This isn't some sort of slow grind up that just happened. So I can't read the future, and I'm not pretending to be some sort of wizard with that. I'm not a chart guy myself, but it's very obvious that when you hit a key level that tons of chart analysts have been talking about for Bitcoin, that's about $112,000, and then it breaks through it, and then in a day it jumps up to a peak now, a new all-time high today of what? $116,828, almost a $5,000 increase in a day. That's an impulsive move right there. That's the real deal. So now that doesn't mean that it's going to nonstop go up in a straight line. That's not how markets work. There will be pullbacks. It'll go down a little bit, this and that. But that's the real deal right there. So it looks like all of the people that predicted, all the analysts that predicted we were not going to have a boring summer, it looks like they're right. This doesn't normally happen in summers, except for, as I've been telling you, it happens in the fourth year of a market cycle. It has every single time throughout history. So if it didn't happen this time, then this time would be different. But those are typically famous last words. I don't think this time is different. And that's exciting, not because I'm thrilled about Bitcoin. Yes, I hold Bitcoin, but I'm not excited for it at this point. I'm glad I bought it way back in the day. You know, I held it when it was as low as 3,200 bucks. Very glad I bought it along the way. But the real story here is what happens with altcoins. I'm most interested in what happens with XRP specifically because it is going to absolutely destroy Bitcoin's little bitch ass. That's what's going to happen in terms of performance. It's going to dominate it. And it's not even going to be close by the time this cycle's over. It will have just devastated Bitcoin performance-wise. And the next leg up, well, some think it's already started here. I mean, XRP was running too. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 11:36 p.m. Central Time, Thursday, July 10th, 2025. XRP is $2.55. Shortly before I started recording this video, it hit as high as $2.59. You'll love to see that. Remember when just not that long ago, it was get down to like close to $2. Look at this. Look at, oh my God. I forgot about that. June 22nd, just a little over, so less than a month ago, it was $1.93. Now it's at $2.55. And it was even higher than that just before I record. It's just, this is why after I accumulate, I do nothing because volatility is par for the course when it comes to crypto, my friends. This thing's going so much higher though. It's going to change so many people's lives, including mine. I'm counting on it changing mine as well. That's why we're here, right? Take a look at this. So, yeah, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. XRP started running. Alts have been running just in general, actually. They've been trending upward, which is what you want to see. You see Bitcoin dominance actually coming down in recent days. That's what you want to see. XRP dominance increasing. That's what you want to see. We saw a new all-time high for the S&P 500 yesterday and today. Again today. Yes, that's right. And here you have the official White House account. Yes, that White House. 2.2 million followers sharing this image. And they wrote, Panikin's hardest hit. A panikin, this is a term coined by President Donald J. Trump this year, and it just means somebody who is easily panicked. And so they've got this guy who is presumably a bear, and the markets are so glowing green. It's coming through the windows. It's infiltrating his humble abode, and everything is shaded green, and he just can't stand it because he's a bear and he doesn't want the green. So he goes to close the curtains right there. And so the White House pumping the market, getting everybody all jazzed up about things. It's just kind of funny. What a world to live in, man. It's just wild. Here's a post from chart analyst TechDev. He shared this with his 534,000 followers on X. You've got altcoins up top here, and he said, altcoin expansion signal. And by the way, he posted this in the afternoon, 2:57 p.m. Central Time. And you're going to need to look at the screen to see what he's talking about here. But he wrote, under yellow equals accumulation base. That's what he's talking about here. And then he says, crossover equals expansion signal. Once every 5 years, never missed. And so he's noting that we have just crossed above that. This is the expansion signal. And you know what that means, because this market moves in tandem. And take a look at this too. By the way, if you're wondering, since the price of Bitcoin has been pumping and it just had this impulsive move to almost $117,000 today, are people ready to sell Bitcoin because it's a big pump and maybe they want to take the profit now? Not so much, actually. Take a look at this post from on-chain analytics firm Santiment. And again, even if you don't care about Bitcoin, the reason this should be of interest to you is because Bitcoin leads the way market-wise. So if Bitcoin's going to keep going up because people don't want to sell it at the current price level, just generally speaking, not that it'll go up in a perfectly straight line, but if people generally speaking don't want to sell it even after this price bump, that means it's going higher, more money flowing into the space, more money to flow into altcoins ultimately. The whole market pumps together. So you should care about this even if you don't hold Bitcoin. That's perfectly fine. But check this out. Here's what Santiment had to say. Bitcoin has made yet another historic all-time high, surging to a market value of $113,923 30 minutes ago. And I will note that this was at 1:37 p.m. Central Time. They posted this today. Obviously, it went a lot higher after that. They said, and then they say, despite Bitcoin's plus 13.6% price rise since its June 22nd local bottom, traders are not showing eagerness to move coins back onto exchanges to potentially sell. In fact, among known exchange addresses, the long-term trend continues to show Bitcoin holders moving their coins into self-custody wallets more and more. In the past 4 months alone, there has been a net drop of 315,830 Bitcoin on exchanges. That's down 21%. Dating back 5 years to July 2020, the drop has been even more staggering, with 1.88 million moving away from exchanges. So that's a 61% drop. Overall, the trend of coins staying off exchanges is a sign that the threat of sudden market plummets is more limited, and long-term investors are increasingly content to keep their coins safe in personal storage for the long run. Now, my friends, at some point, the price will get high enough that those people that are long-term holders and they've got their coins in storage, they're going to start flooding exchanges with supply. We're going to be watching for that. That will be a signal that we're getting closer and closer to the peak for the price of Bitcoin this cycle. And people will be unloading every single cycle. The whales, they do unload as the price is going up. So you'll recall, as I've been highlighting throughout this year, the whales have been loading up on XRP and Bitcoin. What you will see is that as prices are going up and retail lemmings are buying at the worst time, the whales are taking profit. But that is a sign we're getting to the end, and you don't want to be wrong-footed when it comes to timing on this stuff. So if you're going to sell and you're worried, okay, am I going to hold too long and then everything falls apart? Well, that's why you need to know this type of information. I'm going to be talking about it on this channel extensively as those warning signals do pop up. Here's a post from the blockchain backer this morning, 11:07 a.m. Central Time. This is the Russell 2000 small cap stocks here. And this is important to watch because as the Russell 2000 takes off, that's when alts go. We have never had an alt season without this type of breadth in the stock market as well. And it makes sense because if you've got a risk-on appetite and you're an investor in stocks, you probably have the same appetite in another asset class, crypto. And that's just how it's always been. And so here he was highlighting this, Russell 2000 breaking out. And then shortly after that, he reposted it and he said, the blockchain backer wrote, lock this in your head at this exact moment. This just happened with the Russell 2000, clears 702, and then Bitcoin makes new all-time high. Well, isn't it funny, the confluence here? The answer is yes. Here's a post from Credible Crypto. Illegal Bitcoin. What's he referencing here? I'm not going to read that. I've shared this post before. But he highlighted, this is on July 7th, that he didn't know if we were going to be breaking up at that point, but he warned that structurally, sometimes, when things have unfolded like this, you actually do just see a continuation to the upside. And so he was warning there was a reasonable probability that was going to happen. And so that's why he said it's illegal to short Bitcoin. It's just a fun way of saying you're stupid if you're shorting Bitcoin here, because it could just continue. He wasn't promising it would continue, and he didn't know. He actually thought it was more probable that you could see a pullback because usually that's what happens. But we actually got the continuation. And that's why he was warning, because he knew that could happen. He didn't know for sure, but he knew it could happen, and he's smart, so he was warning about it. And so then after the impulsive move today with Bitcoin, he said, illegal. As in illegal to short Bitcoin here. Yeah, I'm not going to play with that kind of fire, I'll tell you that. Of course, I never play with leverage anyway, because I think that's completely ridiculous, and everybody gets burnt doing that, just about. Except for the small percentage of humans who are professional traders and are actually good at. That's almost nobody on the planet, but maybe them. Okay, that's fine. Take a look at this. This is another post. This one's from Credible Crypto also. As exciting as this move is, key to remember here is that there is no need to FOMO into positions at this time. Many alts are sitting at higher time frame regions where it does make sense to accumulate/build positions. Bitcoin is not. The big opportunity for gains is on alts, even if Bitcoin is the one that is leading this move. Now, folks, that is exactly what I've been saying. The real opportunity is in altcoins, such as XRP, not Bitcoin. And I feel bad for the people that are new and they don't know any better, and so they buy into all the nonsense that the toxic Bitcoin maximalists spew. Bitcoin is the chosen one and all that crap. And it's unfortunate, because the real opportunity, again, especially at this point in the cycle, it really is just with alts. Because even if Bitcoin doubles from here, which is almost certainly not going to happen, it could happen, like I acknowledge it could happen, but it's almost certainly not, a twofold increase, what do you think's going to happen with alts? It's not going to take that much for XRP to get a 2x, or a 3x, or even a 4x. So I don't know what's going to happen price-wise with XRP. I'm just saying there's way less money in it. It doesn't take as much money flowing in to get a crazy multiplier effect. It's just obvious here. Here's another one from Credible Crypto. This is an XRP BTC chart. This is his latest update here. And he's been noting that and he drew the trend line here. It's just black in this particular image. But he noted that XRP bumping up against this line on the XRP BTC pair multiple times. And of course, every time you tap against that and then it rejects, it does weaken. So eventually we knew one of those times it was going to break through. And this time it did. And with each of these updates, he shared a meme, that you shall not pass from that movie Dork Quest, also known as Lord of the Rings. And so that's the Dork Quest thing that he's doing. And he's got another Dork Quest meme right here on the screen. This time it went through. And it says, "Fly, you fools." And so he wrote, "The great Gandalf has fallen." And so here it is. XRP's breaking out as well against Bitcoin. And it is going to destroy Bitcoin by the time this cycle's over. You will see that. As far as I'm concerned, that's a virtual certainty. All right, chart analyst Zoom, here he wrote, XRP BTC daily close above resistance after almost 50 days. So he was looking at the same thing here. It's broken above that trend line. Tons of analysts have been looking, and he's like, yeah, actually it finally broke above it. That's a major development here, folks. This is what you want to see. Here's another one from chart analyst Zoom, XRP USD chart here. He says, XRP, as expected, breadth opening up. And he shared XRP breaking out of this symmetrical triangle right here, which is what every chart analyst is looking at this if they're tracking XRP. Like seriously, like everyone. Here's another one. This is from chart analyst Sistine Research, XRP USD chart here. Same thing, symmetrical triangle. Just he didn't even type anything other than XRP USD. He's just noting, you can see right here, breaking out above it. Everyone that charts has noticed this. This is strength, my friends. Congratulations if you've made it through the accumulation phase, because looks like the fun part really is kicking off now. And like I said, you never know what day it's going to be. One day you just wake up and it's going. Today was one of those days. We're not done, though. The best still is yet ahead, and I'm glad I can say that because I'm really looking forward to it. Here's a post from chart analyst X-Force Global, XRP USD chart. He says, things might start to get really crazy and parabolic for XRP very soon. It could really happen any moment. Folks, that is exactly what I've been saying. It is true. You don't need to be some sort of finance guru to know that, and I'm not. I'm just a dude on the internet. I'm just like the rest of you. I'm just a community member. I'm not special because I have a YouTube channel. But that's the point. The point is that a regular guy like me can do this. You can too. Everyone can actually do this. And I don't have anything to sell you. There's no course to sell you. I'm just telling you legit, like, you just buy stuff, and then you don't do anything, and you let time pass, and then it's worth a freaking fortune, and it changes your life. Like, that's actually it. That's it. If you want the truth, that's the truth. You don't need to buy courses to get rich in crypto. You just need to do nothing, which is harder than it sounds for most people. But he's right here. He says, yeah, XRP parabolic. You know, it might be time. Yeah, again, he said things might start to get really crazy and parabolic for XRP very soon. Yeah, I'm thinking so. We're living in the moment. So when he says again, it could really happen any moment, that is absolutely true. It could absolutely be any single day. You just wake up and it's freaking going. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard, XRP USD chart here. He says, "You're welcome. Beautifully called and delivered. XRP is rocketing upside from the falling wedge breakout as perfectly called and traded. We're up 18.43% and it's on course for $2.80. And once $2.80 breaks, a new all-time high comes." So here's another analyst noting that it has broken out above this particular trend line. And he knows what's coming next. Of course, all-time highs. I can't fathom the concept of us not breaking out and melting faces. Like, I know it's technically possible that could happen. I put that like a single-digit percentage probability at this point. It's just so obvious. Look at the way everything is trending and global liquidity, everything I've been talking about, for especially in recent weeks. Like, it just everything perfectly, like it couldn't be more obvious. So congratulations to you for being here and paying attention. Most humans aren't even paying attention. Most have never even heard of XRP. You are light years ahead of the competition, my friends. All of you. Here's a post from chart analyst Cryptos. He says XRP $2.90 incoming, also noting XRP breaking above this trend line. So I wasn't kidding. Like, every analyst is either charting this or talking about this. It has broken out. It just has. And it's not surprising it's happening when the rest of the market's getting hot, right? And Bitcoin ripped to a new all-time high. Shouldn't be surprising. Here's a post from chart analyst E-Grade Crypto, XRP USD chart. He's citing what's happening right now along with what happened last market cycle several years ago and the cycle before that, 2017 and 2018 in particular. And he wrote, "Are you prepared? Trust me, when the hype kicks in, it'll feel like we'll never go down. But remember to use the dumb and smart indicator. When you feel super smart, it's usually time to sell. When you feel super dumb, that's often the signal to buy." And folks, that is spot on. When you're buying stuff in the final stages of a bull market, and you don't know it's the final stages of a bull market, but everything's going up and you feel like a freaking genius because you bought something and then the next day it's worth like double or triple that, that's when you should actually be really concerned and not confident, because that is what happens at the end of a market cycle. And on the flip side, if you're feeling dumb buying stuff, it's probably because you bought and then the market went down further, and then maybe you bought some more and then it went down further and you're like, wow, I'm stupid. Except for you're not stupid. That was the right time to accumulate. That's called a bear market, okay? We're not in a bear market though, so just be really careful here. It's not that there's no opportunity if you actually want to purchase stuff now. It's just that this isn't like the most ideal time to have been purchasing. There's been accumulation for months now. Lots of stuff hasn't rocketed, so like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's no opportunity if you're in the mood to buy stuff. I'm just telling you in general, it just makes sense to really go heavy in the depths of a bear market, and you'll know when you're there. And I'll be here during the next bear market, which is going to come at some point, and it's going to be fun. I'll be thrilled because I'll buy everything on the cheap, and I'm going to do this whole thing over again, and then we'll hang out together, and then years will pass, and then we'll have another bull market. We're going to do it all over again and get even more ridiculously rich. And you all can do this. Like, I'm doing it. There's nothing special about me whatsoever. No financial background, quite literally. I just chose to jump into this just like the rest of you. And for me, it was in 2017, and it just works. It really does. There's no secret. I buy stuff, and then I do nothing. It's literally that. Some people like to overcomplicate. And, it's better to focus on, like, large cap stuff because the market's vetted that and said, hey, this is the stuff we think makes the most sense. But, yeah, it just in a nutshell, that's it. Anyway, so he says, back to TA, technical analysis. Excuse me. On the 2-week time frame, XRP historical patterns fuels its final big move right after bouncing off the 21 EMA, and it happens very fast. Historical data shows cycle 1, 1,400% increase. And so he's talking about after that accumulation period ended after the first pump. So we're talking about the end of 2017 into early 2018. And then cycle 2 plus 455%. And so he decided to average it out and said it's 924%. But he says, if history repeats, this could take XRP to around $30, $11, and an average of $20. I will not be surprised if we see double-digit price action. And it's just crazy. To know that XRP last cycle, when it was getting attacked by the United States government, still did a 20-fold increase from the bottom to the top. Like, that's astonishing to know that. It was as low as 10 cents and it went to $2 while being attacked by the government of the United States. That's astonishing. If that doesn't tell you people actually want XRP, I don't know how to make it more clear to you folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender, the XRP USD chart here. The strength is currently at the same level as it was in November. XRP has not even started yet. Exciting. So not started, but he does show that XRP is broken above the same trend line that all these chart analysts are drawing here. I know what he means though. Like the real fun part hasn't started. So he's saying it looks like November. You know what happened in November. XRP got cry at the party. Yes, it did. And it rampaged to a new all-time high, finally hitting it January 16th of this year, ultimately going to $3.40. It is not done, folks. It is not done. Here's a post from chart analyst XR Punky. He says, as much as we are excited with XRP over the recent little pump, $2.70 to $2.90 is the zone to watch for. Once we can clear that level, it's full-on reversal and all-time high. July through August going to be explosive. I can smell double digits, $10 to $15 soon. And isn't it wild? Like, looks like the analysts that have pointed out, hey, you know, in the fourth year of a bull cycle, you actually have an exciting summer, which doesn't happen any other year. Summers are boring, no hot price action every single year except for the fourth year of a cycle, which is this one. And here it is going off. And so he's talking about July and August. I'm like, yeah, well, makes sense. Because if it didn't happen this time, that would be something that's actually different. Somebody wrote to him and said, do you think it can hit $50 this cycle, or is it pushing it? And XR Punky wrote, I don't see $50 XRP this cycle. I am so glad that he says that. Because I think there's close to a 0% chance XRP's hitting that high this cycle. Not that it can't in the future. I'm not even going to rule out 3-digit XRP, frankly. I don't know if it's going to happen, though. I'm just saying I'm not going to rule it out. But $50 this cycle, it's crazy. And you just wait. If XRP does hit like $10 or $20, you're going to see calls for like $100 XRP, $200 XRP. So many people are going to get wrong-footed because that they're going to buy into it, and they're just going to ultimately regret it, I think. It's not happening, folks. It's just not happening. And if XRP does go to $50, I don't have an ego, so I'll be like, wow, I was wrong. I'll just admit I was wrong, and that will be that. But I don't think I'm wrong. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom, XRP update. Came back after a month hiatus to nail the trend reversal, traded the idea perfect as well. Resistance is less clear up here, so all I am watching is for 240s to hold, so $2.40 plus, to continue to hold as support, and we stay in bullish territory. And he posted that at 8:53 p.m. Central, so, you know, about 3 hours ago. And you know where we are now. Safely above that at the moment anyway. Now we're $2.57 as I'm wrapping up this video. What a time to be an XRP holder. This is just freaking amazing. I'm having so much fun. Please tell me you're having as much fun as me, because this is a blasty blast. This only happens once every several years. This is the moment to have maximum fun. Well, I mean, if you really mean maximum fun, that's what's about to happen when XRP really goes into price discovery for the first time in over, in over 7 years. Which I think is coming. It's been about 7.5 years since XRP's been in true price discovery. That will be the actual most fun part, when it melts faces and all that jazz. But this is pretty close still, because you can see it coming. Like, you can if you're paying attention, you can see this is coming. It's just obvious. Of course, this is going to happen. All right, I'm wrapping up. But you guys tell me what the hell you're thinking about in the comments section. I can't wait to hear from you. This is just like an amazing. This is the best time there's ever been to be an XRP holder, honestly. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say are right. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.